I need to just hit record
I'm
now
I'm not gonna record Luca's parents.
yeah, this is personal stuff. But part of this is like I do want to do it unedited, so like the stuff that we talk about, we just talk about it, and
Yeah.
if it's personal stuff, maybe we talk about it after today.
I love that now you have an omelette like on your head.
Thank you.
Flashback
A,
to tired the barbershop. I
a
just think
Japanese
about like
omelet. What do you call it? Do you know the name? No, okay. I hit record right now because you asked me what is a relationship that's giving me warm fuzzies right now.
yes, what is it?
And it's 100% Haley who invited me here, who is I don't even know really how to describe Haley, which is really nice because I feel like this about a lot of my close friends. It's like, where do you start, right? She's like unassuming and humble and warm and just like a kick-ass person. And we were in New York. I was living in New York, on and off, visiting a lot. And I was moving to New York for a month, and I texted Haley and I was like, "Hey, do you know anyone who like has a sublet going?" And she was like, "Oh, dude, come and live with us. We've got a room coming available. Perfect timing." So I went and lived with Haley. And then while we were living together, she was like, "What are you doing in January?" I was like, I don't really have plans, and I don't have set plans. And she was like, like a group of us go to Mexico every year. Or actually, she didn't say Mexico. She said a group of us go and find somewhere to surf and work from home and chill. And there's a tie-shaped hole in our crew. Would you like to join it?
Nice.
And I was like, yes, that's where I'm going. I'm going to Mexico in January.
Do they always go to this part of Mexico?
No, I think this is the first time that they've come here, and this is really lovely. Like, it's exactly what I was looking for. It's like a tiny, tiny town. The surf is really nice. Everybody's super like welcoming. It is getting a little bit gentrified. Like, you can tell that like pieces of land are being bought up and really nice houses are being built. Um, and I was having this discussion with someone the other night that like, how do you like, is there a good way? Is there a nice way to go and visit like gorgeous places and to have it benefit the community as well? Um, you know, like,
I mean, you have to accept that to get a service that it's within their local standards and not by the standards that you deem right for yourself when you're going and traveling. I think that's all about that. When I went to Kenya, I I drove back home one of my fixers, the guy that helped me find a scooter and a boat and stuff, and he was like, "Come, drive me back to the village." And there was no electricity. There was like 100 chickens, like 10 sisters, a drunk father in a square serving me palm wine, and like literally one TV in the middle of it with people watching a Bollywood film, and like a guy without an arm. Like, this is what that village was really about, you know? And then you go to the resort. So you're willing to do that? I don't know. I was willing to do that for like an hour, but I don't want to do it for like 2 weeks, you know?
yeah,
So
there's like a massive disconnect between the two.
yeah. And it's not always like that, right? I mean, Mexico, it's a little bit less, I guess, than that, but just a little bit
Yeah.
more developed. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have this discussion in Portugal quite a lot. Of like, we have friends that are setting up different things, and it's like, how do you create a space that like incorporates into the community and
Yeah.
like it doesn't just go and build something for wealthy Europeans who want to go on a retreat? How do you make like a retreat center that actually like blends with the community, because like there's always been immigration and there always will be immigration of some kind. It's just like the at least the way I think about it, like from an economics perspective, the problem with immigration generally is that it happens faster than culture and infrastructure and all of these things move. Like you can get on a plane and you can move something really quickly, but the speed at which like housing, for example, changes, the supply of housing just doesn't keep up
Yeah.
with the number of people that are going to a place. So it inevitably makes the prices of things higher, and it happens at a rate that's faster than people can pay for, especially if you're like getting people from high socioeconomic regions
Yeah.
moving to lower socioeconomic regions. So it's
Yeah.
like, it's obviously a problem. Are there ways that we
I
make it?
mean, people living there only obviously raises the prices because of their purchasing power. But so that's one conversation about people living and only, let's say, bringing their purchasing power to the region. Another is to set up
Mm.
services and to say, like, I set up a service that by nature excludes the locals. You could argue that's true and untrue at the same time. I mean, if you are interested in, like, let's say, just bouldering and you want to make a bouldering gym, and in Portugal, people just want to play football. It's not your fault. It's not their fault. It's just a variability of. So the question
Mm.
is then maybe it's just price points. Maybe
Mm.
it's just the way you, or maybe it's the language too. I mean, I think people speak more English in Portugal these days, but ultimately it's that. Plus, it's just how easy you make it for people to set up business. In Italy, it's not easy. That's why no one fucking comes and gentrifies Italy. So you can
That's
put
so
like a
funny.
fat layer of bureaucracy, and then you save the locals. Yeah, or some
Yeah.
Martians.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
interesting the language thing as well, because like when you import culture, or like when a lot of people go to a place, and especially quickly, you import culture very quickly, right?
yeah,
And that's the thing with say English is like if a lot of people go to a place and start speaking English there, then you're importing the language, and if you're forcing people to learn English in order to interact, then that's one kind of way of gentrifying a place. But if you move to a place and you learn the more integrated way of moving into a place, like moving to Italy or moving to Portugal and learning to speak Italian or learning to speak Portuguese and doing all of your everything, business, making friends, everything in a local language, then I guess you're not imposing your own culture on the new place.
yeah. I mean, when people set up a coffee shop in London, like Italians set up a coffee shop in London, they are speaking English. They have Italians coming to it, but in the
Mm.
end, they're like integrated.
Yeah.
At the same time, I mean, you can look at it. Depends on the scale of the service you're creating too. Like if you're an industrialist and you want to build like a textile company in Portugal, you're going to employ local people and you're going to make an enterprise, and you're
Oh.
still having an impact for the locals and for externals. I think what's happening mostly, as in affects locals in a gentrifying sense, is the tertiary sector, the service industry and the entertainment industry more than the manufacturing. Um, Maybe hospitality too, if you think about surf houses and just all of those. Um, it's so peculiar to surf towns though,
Yeah.
because like I was thinking about this. I was talking about it with my family in Parinur. I was like, oh man, I wish there was someone that would come here. They would bring an international crowd to just like, but again, there is no natural landscapes that invite those crowds in. Plus the culture is a bit hostile towards that too.
Mm.
So you require very specific type of conditions for that gentrification of the coastlines to happen.
Yeah. And surfing is a really interesting one. Like there's lots of different aspects to it, but if you like narrow it down to why surfers would travel to a place,
Mm,
it's usually to do with the conditions of the surf.
yeah.
And there's an inherent scarcity of waves usually in a place. So like if in surf culture there's this big like, oh, don't tell people like where the secret spots are, like there's quite a
Yeah.
lot of localism, there's all of these like reasons that you want to kind of gatekeep surf locations.
It's a way
And
for the local to kick you back in the ass with your like high prices of the cafes that you're setting up, you know? Be like, you know
yeah,
what? Okay, you set up that, but you can't come to the break. No, no.
yeah, and like in a lot of cases I think it's fair. It's like, no, I
Yeah,
live here, this is like, there's only so many waves, I want to enjoy the ocean, I want to surf here.
yeah,
Um, but then like the scarcity of the waves breeds this thing often of like real localism where people are like fighting in the water,
yeah,
and it completely defeats the purpose of surfing for me
yeah,
anyway.
yeah. Have you
Um,
had that these days
no, no,
in
the
Mazut?
break.
No? In, no.
I wasn't surfing in Mazunte.
Oh,
In Zipolite, there's some surf. In Porto
Repolite.
Escondido, there's surf, but it's intense.
It's
Um,
intense. I went to Playa Carizarillo in near Puerto, which was really cool sort of bay, but that's super local. And I I had to get an instructor to go up to the break, otherwise he wouldn't just let me in the water. So I
mm,
just basically paid for a lesson so I could just get into the water with this guy. Uh,
yeah,
and in Puerto, there was such a guarding of the break as well that it was just a bit intense in that sense. Yes, okay.
yeah, yeah.
So I
Um,
didn't very much
it
focus
it
more on.
depends on like, yeah, you didn't get in the water that much. For me, it depends on why people are out there. Like a lot of the time, people are very protective of waves, and like there's the safety aspect of it. Like you don't want a ton of people on waves. I don't like surfing waves with lots of people. Um, Here, there's a lot of women in the lineup, and it's a longboard wave, and it's so much more relaxed. Like people are sharing waves sometimes. Like you paddle into something, and somebody else is paddling, and they're like, "Go, go, go!" Or like, "I'll do that."
Oh, that's
Be like,
nice. Yeah.
"No, no, we can
You're
share.
like
There's
in
enough room here."
Swan, no?
Yeah, but in Swan is like too many people. Like
Yeah,
it
it's
doesn't matter
crazy.
how much you have like an abundance mindset, sometimes there's just too many people for the thing. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
man. And like the artificial waves really don't cut it for me. Like in Abu Dhabi, they have this artificial wave, but it's like $700 an hour.
that's
I'm like,
insane.
dude, okay. I mean, I might as well just like, I don't know, not
Yeah,
learn.
yeah. It's like I don't want to surf for that. Um, but the lineup sometimes is really freaking sweet. I was sitting out there in the water the other day. This is fun. Um, and I was talking with this girl, and we were chatting about, she was from San Diego, chatting about like her trip, and she was like, "Oh, I don't know how long I'm here for, but I'm leaving. I'm moving out of my place tomorrow, and I'm not quite sure where I'm going to stay yet. Like I've been looking around." And then later on, I'm sitting there next to these two people, and I hear one of them go to the other, "Oh, I'm looking for somebody to house sit for me and look after my dog." And I was like, "Oh, you should talk to that girl over there in the blue
This
swimsuit."
is in the water.
Yeah, this is in the water. Like we're sitting there waiting for waves to come in, and then they paddle over and they start talking, and a wave comes and I catch it. And then later on, walking down the beach, I see the girl who was looking for a pet sitter, and I'm like, "Oh, like, did you find someone to look after your dog?" And she was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah."
That's perfect. You got a wave, like a wave is a reward as well.
Yeah. I was like, in a place like this, where does all of the like congregating happen? Where does the like, what's the watering hole? Oh, it's out there in the surf.
Oh, man, honestly. But this is probably talked about, could be, you know, maybe it's talked about in literature too, around just the value of just being out there waiting and the experience of it. The silence too, you know? It rarely is easy to hold silence around strangers and just accepting it. We're all onto something. It's close to hunting in some ways too, you know? Just like you keep it quiet, you don't know, you kind of know, but you don't. And then and then who gets there first and better get there second. You don't want to catch the first of a set, you know, and just like go about it in a way that's, it becomes relational. Sometimes it becomes antagonistic. I mean, I've
Uh-huh.
received so many middle fingers. I think it's to do with how audacious you get into it. I mean, when I was in Chakawa, I was certainly not ready for barrels. You know, I was not. And you know, the river met the sea, the crocodiles met the sharks, and turtles were around, and there was a lot of barrels up close to where the rocks would meet. And the intersection between the river coming out, where you had bioluminescence there too, which was beautiful, and the sea itself. I go up the break with this mate called Jonah. I met Jonah in like Puerto Escondido. He was like, "Oh, great, let's just have a couple of dinners together. I just like surf, but then what next?" So he told me, "Come with me to Chakawa." So we went there together. But he was very surf like pro, you know. And I just went with it the whole time. But he was just like ripping it, and I was just like trying to get by. And in fact, I still loved it, and I still was able to half survive in a bottle, but most of the time I was underwater just trying to like fight for my life. And I don't remember like just like, you know what, Luca, at least you got the courage. Just like, yeah, that's something I'm still going for. But you know, most of my memory from that time was just like me grasping for oxygen. And the fact that I just wanted to hit the sunset and then just like go down from the riverside and hit the bioluminescence on the way there, was the darkness was setting on the horizon. That was beautiful.
That sounds fucking gorgeous. I love this idea of when you're like, it happens in the surf, yes, but it also happens in all sorts of like situations where you're right, humans don't really like pauses, especially with strangers. But I've seen you do this many times when like meeting people and like being okay with a comfortable silence, especially on a dance floor. I'm super curious, like when you're interacting with someone that you've just met, do you have lots of thoughts that pop up and not speak them out, or do you just sit with the silence? Like, because you're really good at this. You, out of all of the people I know, are really good at being just like putting yourself out there, opening a door, like having a conversation with a random person.
I mean, look, I think that I'm kind of like making the space to see what they fill them with, you know, like
Mm.
see what they fill the space with. If you just hold the silence, then it's up to them. I mean, I think it's beautiful that, to me, like holding silence together is like an achievement of friendship and closeness.
Mm.
So if I can just see how someone can sit with that early on, I can just maybe tell if we'll be friends. I really don't like talking for talking, like, and you know, don't get me wrong, I do it as well, but like, I usually do it for a reason, like, and I think that there's a lot of filler talk that happens in some contexts, and I'd rather not. Um, but ultimately, with strangers, mate, it's just like finding something good about that person. There will be something that you share at some point with that person. But I've also learned not to, that I can't have like friends and people like smiling back all the time. I'm actually okay with that. I used to be a lot more stubborn about it. There was a girl at work I just could not stand. And I was like, I'm not gonna. So, but then I got it. This is my mission, to crack her and to just like, we're gonna find something in common and we're gonna enjoy a conversation. I know I tried so many times, but then it really didn't click. And then I ended up giving up. But she taught me a lot about what it means to just like let go of people that are actually not going to be cracked, you know?
Interesting. You
Yeah.
said cracked a couple of times, and I kind of know what you're referring to, but I haven't actually had a an explanation of this. This is the egg cracking theory, right?
Yeah.
Will you tell me about it?
So the egg cracking theory talks about people as eggs. So we all represent, uh, our personality can be metaphorically applied to a type of egg and the way it's cooked. So let's say some people might be hard boiled eggs, meaning that they're very hard to crack. They're like very reserved. They're very like within their own space. And if you're trying to get to know them, you rarely could crack them, crack the shell and like get to inside. And if you get to the inside, it's still hard. So you know what? Maybe that's just a very difficult person to be with. Or some people are very soft boiled, you know. So you crack and then you find some softness. So the softness represents like the joy of being together and the openness, and the hardness represents yeah, like the closeness. And so and some people might be scrambled, you know, you can see that they are very scrambled and very easy to like to eat. Or they can be omelets, you know, they're put together but all in one shape. Yeah. And that shape, that's the one that they find for themselves. It's so put together, and that's it. And yeah, you can cut into it, but it's still solid and still their shape. You know, there's many ways
Interesting.
to look at people.
Do you think that you're a particular type of egg?
I think I am a I think I'm maybe poached egg.
A poached egg.
I do have something around me, but then all you need is pork, and then all the liquid comes out.
And then it's like, yeah,
I
I
have
can see it.
some boundaries, you know, I'm not as scrambled, you know, but at the same time,
Mm.
yeah. You
Um,
I know that you wanna manifest this omelette with this haircut, but do you think you
yeah,
are an omelette?
I'm going for omelet. Do I think I'm an omelet? I'm not quite sure. I I realize that I really like mystery, and so I like get this mental block where I actually don't know what kind of like you asked me what kind of egg I am. Blank. Nothing. But I think if I thought about it for a while, I could come up with something. It's just like there's this inherent like, oh, it's more fun if actually you don't know what's going to come out of this. So maybe I'm like a soft boiled egg. Like there's a shell there, and if I tap at it for a while and tap at it for a while, eventually it will crack. And then if I give it a little, I could behead it.
Or
Then
you're like a 2 minutes egg,
yeah, exactly.
boiled
I'm
egg.
like a I'm like a
2,
two-minute
3
boiled egg.
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, like quite runny once you get on the inside. It's like, oh, yeah, you want to know about all of these things? Yeah, sure. I'll tell you about them. Do I know what they are?
It's
Not
really
necessarily.
difficult to open up to people if you had like if you had a bad day,
Oh,
if that person reminds you of someone you don't like,
mm,
if you're high and on a different high than that person. If you're maybe or maybe if they've done something to you, obviously. I mean, we're talking about strangers, so maybe that's not applying, but I
yeah.
had people reminding me of other people, their energy, and I was like, I don't think I want to engage, you know? And that
Mm-hmm,
happens.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And I think your body has a lot of wisdom when it comes to that. It's
yeah.
like maybe it's your own stuff, but maybe it's actually just your body going like, I'm not willing to go there. I don't want to go there. One thing that I do think is really helpful is like especially it reminds me if somebody is reminding you of somebody else is like if you have a really strong reaction to something. Um,
Mm.
I learned this from this retreat that I did, the Hoffman process,
Oh, yeah.
and the phrasing is if it's hysterical, it's historical. So like if you have an outsized reaction to something or someone, and actually they're a stranger, it's probably something from your past, and it's probably something that actually they have nothing to do with. And so when that happens and it's like a stranger, I go like, I don't necessarily need to engage with that person. I don't need to, but I also don't need to like take out this really intense emotion on them. Um,
Yeah,
because
and that person, okay, wait.
yeah,
Yeah, you
but
know, that's happened to you?
yeah, yeah, for sure. Like where somebody like, I
Somebody I
think it
know?
happens almost every time you get triggered. Somebody you know. Um, Oh, I'm sure. I think it happens all the time. I
Okay,
think that's what triggers are, essentially.
yeah.
It's like, oh, something happens and it like reminds you of something that happened in the past, and whether or not that's the case in the moment is I think that's the skill, is like noticing, oh, I have this intense reaction to it. And why am I feeling this way? Is it something from the past or is it something right now? And
Yeah.
if it's something right now, the emotions are actually usually, for me at least, different to if it's historical. Like the
Yeah.
right now are things like I'll feel angry. Like anger is an emotion that is super healthy and comes up because you need to take action now. I'm being attacked by, I don't know, a person, a bear, something. Get angry, it'll help. Um, Whereas like if it's sadness or if it's like some other like real hurt, sometimes that's not necessarily a right now thing. But
Mm. Yeah, anger is interesting one. I was watching this TV show called Pluribus on Apple TV, from the creator of Breaking Bad. So I have a lot of expectations about this. Have you watched it?
no spoilers. I've seen the first episode.
Okay, okay. Well,
Well, maybe
just saying,
spoilers.
like she
Just
one.
warn me.
Okay, I'm just saying, there's no spoiler here. I'm just saying, like the main character is quite angry,
Hmm.
just by as a person, like, and she channels that quite a lot, and it's just really hard to see through that, you know. Especially like build empathy with someone that shows so much anger all the time. Because I just don't like I don't root for you if you're angry, you know? It's
Mm.
you're always on the wrong side of the argument if you are the angry one too.
But don't you think that's just because you're not inherently an angry person, or like that's a part of you that you don't want to connect with necessarily? But if you were someone who enjoyed that feeling, maybe
Mm.
watching that character and letting you connect with that energy would be like a really pleasurable experience for
Maybe
you.
it would be. I mean, it's a good, very pointed question and very towards me that you know me, like you know how I deal with some of the darker sides that come when I'm yeah, when I'm certain on certain trips, especially. And and like I really try to resist this side of me because I'm inherently quite optimistic as a person, and um I think I've been exposed to anger in a sense that I just really try to deem unhealthy and to push away from my relationships and the way I see things. I used to be a very reactive, angry person in relationships, and I'm not anymore. And I worked through it for that. So I don't really associate with that emotion today. Kind of don't want to have to do anything with it. Um, but it's not necessarily a retreat. I would say like one thing I know how to handle is someone being angry at me, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I can handle as much me being angry at them, you know?
Yeah. Interesting.
So
But it's just, it's experience in that emotion, right? And then you have moved through it. You've like
yeah,
made the conscious decision, oh, I don't like this feeling. I'm
yeah,
gonna work with it and move with it.
yeah.
Um, and when it comes up, it comes up. Like it, we all experience all of these emotions, right?
Yeah, you also don't have it very much. Like, you know, by nature, you're not like that as much.
Yeah. But I used to be. I used to be a really. I was an angry kid,
Oh my god,
and I
dude.
was. I was really.
We're finding some parallels here. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but then I think just like reached the point where I was like, I remember around like maybe 10, 11, 12, I was quite like big for my age. And I realized that I could be very angry and that I could hurt people if like we were having a physical fight. So I don't think I've had a physical fight since I was maybe 13.
Really?
Um,
Really?
yeah,
Wow. That's
there's
good.
been there's been a couple of instances where like I've been punched in the face, but
But you
but
didn't
that
punch back.
no, one time I was really high on Molly and I like bumped into someone and I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, dude," and he just punched me in the face, and I was like so shocked, and I was like, "Are you okay?" Um,
Oh my god, this is such a
but
Jesus thing to do.
But it didn't escalate. And obviously, like, I was super lucky. There are, I'm sure, circumstances where I could have just been totally beaten up. Um, and another one, I was like trying to break up a fight and somebody punched me in the side of the head. But I don't know. I really think that I try to steer away from violence as much as I can, just because I don't think that it is healthy most of the time. But there are, in saying this, there are healthy expressions of anger. And I think especially like with processing your own stuff, with like, because we all have these things, and if we decide no, that's not a part of me, like that's not true. Like we all experience
Yeah,
these things. Just to pretend that it's not true doesn't make it less true. It just makes it not right there. Um,
yeah, healthy expression of anger. It's one to reflect on.
how do you see your like it, you want to have kids in the future
Yeah.
potentially? How do you see them like growing up in a world that is potentially like a very angry world a lot of the time?
Well, it's to me has to do with what is the foundational set of values that you want them to live by, and is it one of closeness or is one of openness, from which everything unfolds. In fact, you could argue that globalization is built on an openness value, versus nationalism is built on a closeness value.
Mm,
Um, and I think there's real. I've discovered that later in life because I'm not a third culture kid. I grew up in one place and one place only for the first 21 years of my life. And then
mhm,
I moved to London. And then I started to branch off different places through work and other experiences. And I started to travel the world and live among different nationalities. So it's an
mm,
acquired value for me that I was seeking and I found and I integrate. And now I want to pass. Um, if a kid grows into that context, I believe is a little more inclined to be tolerant and to understand the interconnectedness of the different cultures and how we believe we should be raised, which is with less limitations that come from being from one nation only. So I'm not worried about a world that's getting. I mean, yes, the world is getting very is escalating very quickly in so many areas, but at the same time, human race has gone through medieval times and through like world wars and everything else, and like we're still around. So I think it's just I'm not worried about that. There's two important values with openness too that go hand in hand with it. Is like teaching them critical thinking
mm,
and helping them, um, having them being kind
yeah.
at being critical thinkers, and also just being playful, and having humor in their life. Because if you can't laugh at things, you're doomed. So I wanted to get early wrinkles around here, and
I love that. It's a really yeah, it's a I like this different um kind of goals to have for your kids, like early wrinkles around your eyes is such a good one because it encapsulates so much. It's like,
What
yeah,
about you, Ty? What about you and your kids? What do you want to have kids?
ah, I want to have kids. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I've noticed it in the last couple of years. Um, and it came about in a way that I wasn't really expecting. Like, I find it hard to imagine the future. Like, I have to go and actively do things to imagine the future. Um, and I had this like, oh yeah, I'd like to have kids, but it was a very like theoretical thing one
Yeah.
day, maybe because it was like culturally expected that like, you know, family have kids, blah, blah, blah. Um, but I notice now parents, and I notice like some friends having kids and the
So
ways that
many.
they're, yeah, like lots of our friends are having kids these days. Um, and that you don't actually like, I kind of thought that having kids meant that you had to change your lifestyle and have a boring life. And it's like, no, how do your kids learn about the world? They learn about it by copying you. Like as a baby, your survival depends on your connection with your parent.
Yeah.
Whatever they're experiencing, the baby is going to mirror it. And so go and live the life you want to live. Like be
Yeah.
playful, be open, be like all of these things, and don't put your life on pause. And I mean, as a person without kids right now, this is a very easy thing to say, right? Um,
Yes, but like I think that's key to build that infrastructure for yourself. That's why you do it together, because it really takes two to make it happen logistically as well. I think it's
yeah.
really great to think about like how do you create those the spaces in your life that then they can be filled when they come, you know? So building a work-life balance that's exactly like, right now I'm working 6 months, like really 6 months a year and maybe like 6 to 9 months. I can also work just six, but like 6 to 9 months a year, and then the rest I can just like figure out other things.
Uh,
And I think that's really helpful to know, because then I'll say like, okay, how do I just, obviously it's not always that I'm gonna have the same clients, like um but like creating that space. And so I say like, where do I open the top? When do I close it? And when do I create that space for them to be, so I can dedicate myself to them, or I just work and my girlfriend does that, and my wife does that.
yeah.
Um,
I think
but
there's this,
but creating that space, it's important.
yeah. And there's this fallacy that like, oh, when I have kids, I will have a life like this. So like, I think it's either that I think most of the time people kind of like plan things out. And in my experience, things don't really go to plan. They sometimes do. And the plan is like a guide, but there's always, and like we live in an infinitely complex world, and there are always things that manifest in a different way than we expected. And when you see people go like, oh yeah, I've got this like really rigid work life, and then when kids come along, that just gets either completely shifted by necessity because kids take time and energy, and you probably love spending time with them as well, or maybe. Um, but then there's also this like, your life doesn't change that quickly. Habits don't change that quickly unless they have to. Um, and so, like, imagining what a life would be like without having the thing in it is quite difficult. I think you can plan.
Yeah, man. Also, we don't know what it's like until we have them. Like for many reasons. Like I think one is you get flooded with this unconditional love that you just change your lifestyle because you want to change it, you
Yeah,
know. And then all you care about is like, how do I do experiences that they're gonna matter to them, and then
yeah.
you shift a lot. So like that, it's just really hard to tell. But I'm very enticed by this notion of traveling the world with the kid in the backpack for the first 3 years of their life, let's say like 3 4 years of their lives. I love that idea. Like, I think it's beautiful, and I think it's really meaningful. It depends on what like this thing that's been talked about a lot around Gen Z, and like and versus millennial, in the way you think about work and careers, and the fact that there is a lot working for your lifestyle rather than like making your work your lifestyle.
Mm,
So I think that element. You could argue there is some variables that can help us make choices around what we do with our kids in the first years of their lives. Is like, do we choose to continue traveling? Do we sort of like pause work a bit? This notion of maternal leave, but also paternal leave, so then you can actually experience like the first years together. They're just passing very fast. Things like it's not, but they really pass really fast, those nice initial years, and then they're gone. And then that's really it. Like, it's a very different experience later.
yeah.
um and um and then like you can continue to live like that, and just make your life a project that they witness with you and
Yeah.
they can get inspired by. So in some ways, it gets a bit performative. You could argue those years, like you could create a whole performance around what is the life that they would benefit from learning from, and what are the values that they could attach to that up until they're older, and then you come back to things and maybe they're not as instructional to them, you know, in some ways. Like
Yeah.
if traveling is important, travel with them when they're young, and then later you can just go and be a couch potato if that's what you want to be when they're like gone.
Exactly. If that's what you want to be, that's where it gets interesting to me. Is like how much of the performative nature of, like, say this was performative. Say you're like, all right, for my kids, I would like them to have this experience, and so I want them to learn this thing, and so I'm gonna like perform this, I don't know, 5, 10 year plan of this is what I want my kids to learn. And then you pause and go like, well, actually, if I want that for them, don't I also want that for me?
Yeah.
Or like the gap between what you actually do and what you say you want, I think is really interesting. And like trying to live out these lives that we imagine and that we say, like there's a big difference between like speaking about the path and actually just walking the path. Like, and I think it's kind of a pipeline in that, like the things that you think about, or like anything that any kind of desire that crops up in you. Oh, I want to eat an omelet, for
Mhm.
example,
Wow.
is just like a small seed of a desire, right? And then you start thinking about it, and then you start talking about it, and then if you're really serious about it, you take action on it, and it's like, okay, well, maybe actually we're living the lives that we genuinely do want because that is the actions that we're taking.
Mm.
Um, and in that case, it's like, I think kids are a really interesting, like, um, I'm going to call them a tool here,
Oh my
which,
god. Another tool. Oh my
sorry,
god, you and
kids.
your tool belt.
Yeah, I fucking love the tools, but like as a lens to see what's really important, because you go like, all right, well, what do I really want these people that I fucking love? And I know that I can't even imagine right now what that would feel like. I think it's very hard to imagine future
It's
feelings.
super
Um,
instinctual. It's super like visceral, you know?
yeah, but the perspective shift of like, oh, what do I want for these people? Oh, maybe actually that's a really like something that I value and I find important. Um, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there is it's important to experience selflessness. And you can experience that via meditation,
Mm.
via just your closeness to community in some sort, and then even religious experiences, and you could argue psychedelic experiences too, but they're passing, and we are so concerned with ourselves that certainly kids will take the attention away from ourselves, and it's I think it's a very important human experience to go through. So just for that it's great, but we can't forget that they are their own human beings too, you know, and they are going to be also challenging at times, and very different from who we are. I think that we have this notion that they're malleable in many ways, but I believe they are maybe a bit less than we think they are.
Oh, interesting.
You get to
Uh,
shape what they see and then what they learn, but there's something coded in them that is gonna make them inherently different from you. Like I really think that you're so you'll be different. You can see things about your parents within yourself, but you show very early signs of who you are. Like if I look at home videos of myself as a kid, like it's just the same guy. You know what I mean? Like it's just and like yeah, that's like 20 years later where you're like, oh, actually, that's a lot of influence. Yeah, partially, but at the same time, it's a kind of encoded.
do you ever have like flash forwards of, let's say, you in 20 years time, or like you in 40 years time?
You know, I was talking about this with my mom because she had that. She was suffering, like she was going through some traumas and issues like when she was young. she's very little. She was like less than 10. She was like imagining herself when she was 60 and when all these problems will be gone and she will be retired and she will travel the world as a way to soothe herself. Now imagine the mental space for a 7-year-old kid. And then now she's 60 and unfortunately she's not in the place she imagined it to be. And so
Huh.
she's sad about it. And that's a big one because it has to do with expectation, but an expectation that's been brewing within herself for the past 50 years. That's
Wow.
insane. So that's her, right? For me, I do life manifestation usually every year. This year I didn't do it because I'm kind of leaving it. So I didn't have the time to pause and do it. But I usually just do like a post-it exercise. I go through like the key areas of my life from work to love to friendship to self to family. And then I just like understand, I just map it to my values, think about how it reflects onto how they reflect within those areas. And then I paint an image of who I am in those areas as different sort of archetypes of people. And then I understand, okay, and this is what and then I think about the behaviors I am having as that archetype. And then I think about a scene in a space of me acting on those behaviors. And I
Huh.
imagine the actual space I'm in. So I'm like, I'm in this room with these people in this condition. This music is playing. I'm essentially like storyboarding, like what love looks like, what friendship looks like, what family looks like. And then, in fact, I start from that. I start from the environment and I go up to behavior and then to like the archetype and then to the values. It's easier that way because if you close your eyes, it's very easy for you to imagine what a good family moment looks like or what a good friendship moment looks like. Where are you? Who are you with? What are you doing?
Hmm.
What time of the day is it?
The sun is
What does it
rising.
taste like? What
We're
does it smell
dancing.
like? You know?
Yeah.
All of that appears to you. And then you say, okay, great. I can see all of that. And then I just go the level up. It's like, how am I behaving?
Mm.
How is other people behaving around me? You know, it just starts to paint a picture of the characters in there, you know? And then you go a little bit more abstract, you know, which is your inner space. I mean, these are all very visual and very external traits that you can associate with a moment in time. In fact, it's very much a script that you can build for a film. Only after you like, oh, these are the values that I'm expressing within that space, which is a lot more abstract and sometimes not even something you should declare to the world in any ways, right? Can be
Yeah.
within yourself only.
Yeah. I love this idea that some things are so intimate that they never get written down. Like there are some things that you will never read because the filter of our inner space is like, no, actually, that's just for me. Like I'm not gonna
Yeah.
express that to anyone except for my inner world. Um, it's super interesting the progression of this though, right? Like you're a very visual person. Um, you're very like artistically talented, and so the way that you like visualize this up into this, I think it's flipped to how I imagine it, but I don't think the way that I imagine it is necessarily useful. Or like I think it's very I think it's very easy for people to go, these are my values. And maybe they know, but maybe they just maybe it's a like societally scripted value system. And
Yeah.
instead, if you do it the other way around, like you're talking about, you go, oh, this is the environment that this is the feeling that I want to have in this space. This is the scene. Oh,
Yeah.
what does that mean? Oh, what does that mean? Oh, that means that I like this. Because I don't know if you have the same thing. I realize that some of the things that I really love, I wouldn't have like known that I really like that thing before I'd experienced it. Like I would not have told you that I like getting in really fucking cold water and sitting there for 2 minutes without experiencing the thing. I would have gone, oh, that sounds like shit. I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's other people's ideas. I mean, it's very emergent, the way you think about your day-to-day experience. It's a reflection of all the good experiences and the bad ones you've had, and helps us build an ideal. Now, whether we meet that image in our ear, who knows? I think it looks very, obviously, most of the time, very different. But what starts to reveal itself is that you seek for those behaviors of the people around you, for example. You know, like I didn't manifest Abu Dhabi, I didn't manifest the UAE, I didn't, but I manifested some ways, like something that would just keep me also on the self bucket, like exercising and being on a good routine and like eating well and like and being like
mhm.
and you know, and I had that in Abu Dhabi because people don't drink and there's no drugs and there's nothing else. So all you do is just go to the fucking gym and just go to work. So like in the end, like that manifested in a way that I did not choose, but there was another forcing function for me to go to the gym, which is like it's in my building. There's not as many friends around that I can go and hang out with, so I'm not distracted, and I just stay very focused. And so that bucket of the self and the physical self, because the mental self and the physical self in the self bucket, the physical self, okay, great, it's been achieved. But then on the friendship side, it's kind of like a disaster, you know, because you're like, I'm just working, and but then I met Ida, and then she's there, and then we're like, all of a sudden, this incredible sort of like mind connection, physical connection, and ways to be together, and just like coexist in this third space together. And you know, like yeah, there's things you imagine about a partner as well. They like always show up in a different way, like, and that you let them surprise you, you know, and
Mhm.
help you get to a better understanding of what clicks for you in a relationship. It's not that ideal, or you know, the
Mm.
stratification of all the previous girlfriends you've had. You take a bit from this girlfriend, a bit from this girlfriend, and then you make the perfect girlfriend. It just doesn't happen that way.
No, not at all. But I do like this idea, and especially like for romantic partnerships and also for friendships. It's like realizing the things that you really appreciate about people. Like I have met people and gone like, wow, I really love this about you. And I hadn't realized that before. And through experiencing that, you realize, oh, this is actually something that I would look for in a partner, or this is something. Perfect example. Our friend G is like very disciplined and has a system for things and is very just like consistent. And before I was friends with Gia, just like I didn't value consistency at all. I was like, whatever. Like we're here to ride the roller coaster. Let's fucking go. And through like it's just small moments that I've like noticed with him is like, oh, that's really nice. Oh, that's really nice. That's really nice. And it's not like a wow fireworks blowing thing. Like it's not huge moments. It's like these little quiet moments where I've just noticed that she is just like consistent,
Yes. I
solid,
learned a lot
stable.
from his consistency as well. Like there's something really. That's why I think the three of us traveling together is sick, because we bring all of these flavors to each other. Like I love putting him to the tipping point, and I benefit a lot from his consistency and like and routine as well too. Like he got me into calisthenics and all of that. I'm so grateful for it. You know, um, and I always tip him and try to, and he's willing to get tipped, which is good, and needs to continue to do that. The other night we went to like Simon's birthday in Dalston, and he was like, "Okay, do you want to top up?" You know, which I love. Like Charlotte is becoming a bit of a top upper too, which is great. They've been on the gummies game for a while because she doesn't want to smoke for his like throat thing. And I show up quite late, as like in good fashion. I found a girlfriend that is even more late than me, which is final like hands off and be like, you know what, it's a and yeah, like, and he was like, yeah, let's take a quarter together. And I'm like, great. And then I lost my scarf and they walked to the other club, and I was like, fuck, you know, in Monday times this might mean It felt like it was 2 hours. It was only like 10 minutes, but like in my head, like 2 hours. But like enough for him and her to go home. And I was like, dude, I'm gonna like be ass and shirt with you. It's an Italian term, like ass and shirt, like they're always
What does
together.
it mean?
They're always together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. With the shirt in the pant, you're like on the ass. And I'm gonna
Oh,
be
you
ass and
tuck your
shirt
shirt in.
with you.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like ass and shirt with you tonight. Like you're not going anywhere. We're doing the exact same things. You and Shark come back 2 hours and like just get very catty on the couch. And he left. He disappeared. Oh my god, I was so annoyed. And then I was like, I cannot believe the fucking scarf is not worth this. And then I queued and I bumped into other people and we are still had a great night. So anyway, like
Of
the
course.
guy likes to be tipped, but now he's a tipping people too. He tipped me first and then he left. He left.
And that's a good point. Like we all have to do what makes us happy, what makes us
Yeah.
tick. Like, I noticed this recently, and I've been having this conversation with Haley actually, who's here. And it was like, oh man, sometimes I just really don't feel like doing things. Like we've been playing volleyball down on the beach, and like objectively playing beach volleyball, really fun. Sometimes not in the mood. And then there's this people pleasing thing that I feel like, I mean, obviously with all of these things, we're continually learning, but I've made fucking leaps and bounds recently in not being a people pleaser anymore. Just going like,
Nice.
actually, what do I feel? Do I want to go and do that thing? And
Yeah.
then trying to separate myself from like, is that something like, is this story that I'm telling myself true? And that if I don't play volleyball, everyone's going to be disappointed and they won't have fun and like I'll let people down and all of the stuff that is actually not to do with me. It's like the story that I'm making about what somebody else thinks. And when you stop doing that, you go like, for example, G going on, like, what do I feel like doing? Oh, I feel like sleeping. Okay, cool. I'm not going to worry. Luca's going to have a great time. He's going to find other friends. He's
Oh,
going to
I know you do
he's
that,
gonna...
dude. You haven't not done that recently. You've done that a long time. What you're trying to say here? I literally find you for 3 days at Burning Man. Like you did not follow one plan of being together. So don't worry about it. But it's good. It's really healthy and it's important to do that. I think for me, just because I'm not here in London as much, I'm really trying to grab onto my friends.
Yeah.
But recently I've had a little bit more time on my hands, so I've been actually going and meeting them more rather than expecting, because they're having their routines. Like I'm really not having a routine right now in the same way that I used to have. So it's different. Same for Aaron. Like he lives nearby now, so like it's really easy to come and catch him.
Cool.
But yeah, no, I hear you. I think it's important that you say no to volleyball sometimes. It's
Well, anything that like, yeah, if you're not feeling it, or if you've made plans and you're more committed to the plan, sticking with things, I think is important. Like
Yes.
doing what it is that you need versus what yeah,
Okay, so
other
we've
people are
gone
expecting.
through a series of emotions in this call. Like we talked about anger.
Yes.
We talked about we talked about joy. What brings you
Hey,
joy? We kind of talked about sadness a bit, but I don't know if we really did. Maybe we don't want to talk about this right now. And
come
now
back to it.
this one.
What is this one? Contentment?
Yeah, I
Peace?
think so. What's bringing you
Um,
peace right now?
I'll tell you what's bringing me not peace quickly is I need to take a leak.
This one. I need to leak as well, so pause.
Okay, pause. We'll come back to it. We're going to leave it running. This is part of the unedited is we'll
Okay.
just come back
Okay,
for
keep
3
the
minutes.
volume as well so we can hear the Our package. Let's see what it is.
Do you have any idea?
It's probably a record. Looks
Oh
like,
yeah.
feels like a record. I've been going like deep into buying from archives of Italian hip hop
Ooh.
from the store online, and usually they take a long time to come. Might be one of
Okay.
them, or might be not. Let's see.
I'm very
Oh,
curious.
oh, nice. Oh, yes. Okay. Brian Eno, music for films.
Oh, cool.
It's very abstract. It's essentially just like music for scores. It's similar. It's part of the ambient series from him, like music for airports.
Huh? But he's got music for airports, music for scores, music for films.
Yeah, music for everything.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm really going ambient these days in the living room as well because it's just the easiest to listen to. I'm not really mixing records, I'm just like lounging with it.
Playing
So
them. What's the soundtrack of your life these days?
uh, it's ambient music. So it's mm, just not spoken word. There's a lot of
Hmm.
like sound. There's a Japanese album that's about like nature sounds. It's called Green.
Ooh.
And it's really nice. And we play that a lot. We play like music for Nine Postcards as well. It's another album that it's really nice ambient. Also
Music for 9
Japanese
postcards?
music for yeah. I think it's called Nine Postcards. Let me see.
Okay.
Nine
Interesting.
Postcards. Music for nine. Yeah, music for Nine Postcards. Yeah, we've been listening to Aphex Twin as well quite a bit.
Oh yeah. Classic.
Yeah.
I think that was playing when I last was in. When did I
Yeah,
last
the
see you?
collection is really getting big these days. In fact, I'm like, I need to make space.
Yeah.
It's good.
When was the last time I saw you in the flesh?
Um, I think it was
Would have
a
been
Burning Man.
Halloween.
No, I think it was a Burning Man.
Oh man. Oh yeah, you were in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah,
Oh man.
I know.
It's been too long.
I need to come to Portugal when you're there.
Yeah.
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 I'm
I'll be
trying to
back in
see what to
March.
do with what's coming up for me, like I'm actually working on a film right now.
Are you?
Yeah,
Interesting.
I'm talking to
Um
people about it. There's a short film I'm writing about my grandpa.
cool. Can you tell me about it?
Yeah.
Or is it a secret?
No, no, I'm talking about it with people right now, like to also get ideas and just get a bit of an understanding of what's the best direction to take some of it in some ways. Like I'm trying to, so essentially it's a concept for a feature film that
Okay.
I'm building as a short of about 15 minutes. And it's a short that describes one one picture of, say, one piece of the puzzle of his life. He had a very colorful life, and it's trying to frame his the dualities that he's gone through in his life, specifically in a time period where he was very active politically and through his profession. So
Mm.
imagine like Naples in the 1970s,
Mhm.
1974.
What's
You had
important
this
to know about 1974 Naples? Because I have
1974.
zero context.
Well, between the beginning of the 70s and like the 70s is a period, they're so called the years of the lead in Italy, because they were very heavy years for uh, terrorist groups. They were operating within the country, and they were communist terrorist group that
Okay.
developed throughout Europe during that time too, in opposition to the government at the time. So you need to remember that at that time there was this sort of historical compromise politically between two factions in the parliament, the
Mm.
Catholic and the communist. They came together and to govern the country, and there was a very big rupture within the electorate, and they really contributed to the development of terrorist groups that started to undermine the government action across different parts of the country. So
Wow.
anything that would be institutionalized, rather being progressive or rather being conservative, it didn't really matter. Anything that the government would propose or impose through new legislation and bring to life into institutions, they would try to go against it. There's a lot of bombing, there's a lot of deaths,
Wow.
so they were very heavy years. The actual prime minister got kidnapped by the Brigate Rosse. Brigate Rosse is a terrorist group I'm talking about, and killed. So imagine that as a backdrop of this time period. Plus, the total political unrest that came from the rights that they came to be in the country at that time. For example, the biggest law that made Italy a progressive country came during those periods. Divorce, um, the ability for 18-year-olds to vote, um, different laws, marital laws that allowed
Mm.
for women to have the same rights as men.
Yeah.
I just had a cacao nib that came back up. Anyways, this is the 70s, and he was a over medicated, essentially was addicted to paracetamol, sex surgeon. So he was making sex changes in the hospitals in the 70s. Surgeon that was operating in hospitals, but it was also making clandestine. It was making illegal IVF treatments for women in the basement of his studio, which is in the basement of my house.
Wow.
In Napoli. And he was a criminal anthropologist. So he created an area of the jail for transgenders to go in so that they wouldn't be killed by the male inmates in the jail. Because at the time, they would just be seen as like, fuck you, faggot, I'm going to kill you, you know? And so he did all that. As he did that, he disappointed, he drew the attention of the terrorist groups because he was doing progressive reform within the jails in the name of the government. And so they came to his house to kill him with guns. So they went downstairs, they found my dad. My dad was 20-year old. They took them to him to kill him, which is fucking crazy. And they started to shoot. He had a gun with him in the desk. So he
Yeah.
shot back, and they didn't kill him. They shot him in the hip, and he was just limping for the rest of his life. He was revered by the Republic, as he was given lots of lots of recognitions from the government itself. He's a great official, like let's say a lord of the country. But he was also operating in these sort of like gray zones of illegal activity, in his own way. He had like a wall full of pictures of kids that he helped being born through these illegal IVFs at the time.
Wow.
So he had a lot of that, and the terrorist groups. And then he was a very controversial figure in my family, as in he was like cheating on my grandma in the house on a daily basis, and she didn't really react to that. She was an artist, a painter from a rich family, and we lived all in this big boomerang pink shaped villa that from the 1930s next to the woods, and all together in there. And she was like essentially like a prisoner in her own home in that sense, because she was never really able to like walk away from this relationship for many reasons that we wouldn't talk about now. But
Yeah.
and he had a very controversial relationship with the kids too, like my dad, and so imagine my aunt was a communist activist, So she was
Mhm.
essentially on the side of the terrorists. My dad was a psychologist, so he got really the first class of psychology in Rome, in Italy. So like very sort of advanced in that time, but also like very in clash with my grandpa, because my grandpa was like, "This is not science." And he was very just very strange, like just very full of himself. I couldn't call him grandpa. He was like bleached hair. It's just it was like very vain, you know? And he would sell us things. He would not give us gifts. He would sell us the things that he owned. Like he was a very I received a 1978 Pentax camera with few lenses for him as like in the will and no money. He gave more than £500,000 to strangers, to lovers, to maybe kids he had with other families in the past 10 years of his life in checks, and
Wow.
left us nothing. But he was wearing like fake Rolexes, and like he had all this art that was like a lot of it was fake, you know? It was just
This is
yeah.
so interesting and strange and wow. Okay. So you're making this into a short film.
Yeah.
Okay.
That doesn't sound very short, but it's not all of it is gonna be in it, obviously.
Well,
Yeah.
it sounds like there's a lot to unpack here. And I
Yeah, yeah.
really
It's only like a little piece of it that, and then like leaving like space for future.
it sounds like it has lots of potential with um interesting ingredients, shall we say.
Yeah.
Like so many films these days, there's like a recipe for a good film. And sure, like there's something to be said for that. Like I like recipes. I
Yes.
like cakes
You like
that are
tools.
well baked. I love tools. I love analogies. Um but I think there's something like really more interesting, at least for me, to be said
Yeah.
about like, oh, how do all of these different ingredients come together and like, what? Like the plot twist of, like, even when you're telling the story about this man and who he was and how he kind of interacted, it goes in like different directions. And it feels like the film has potential to like start feeling like it's going one way and then make a turn and then start feeling like it's going to go another way and make a turn. Like just exploring the complexity of what it's like to actually be a person rather than these simplified versions that we get.
Completely. And I feel called to tell this story because it's a obviously it's like a legacy thing for him, but also I think it's really helpful to show that even behind pioneers and people that create so much value in society and they get recognized, there's a rot as well behind it. And I always got like a version of the story from the perspective of the people in the family and how much unliked he was by most of the people. But then he had like and I had to discover that relationship with him directly by myself by when my grandma died, and there was no more filters between me and him. And he started to accept his own like passing of the years, and eventually became a little bit more willing to be a grandfather
A softer
and to
head.
share with me. I mean, I didn't receive anything like monetarily. I don't really give a shit, but like he gave me a lot of himself later in life, and that's what I think it matters the most. And this is my attempt to describe what characters like that, the role that they play. He was larger than life in so many ways, and also I think it was such a grotesque character that he lived in a very sort of royal, very high class environment that he didn't build for himself. Like it was his wife's environment, but he just took that throne, and he took that position, and she was in the kitchen.
Mm.
So it's a very it's an interesting angle, I think, for today's like when we look at man and women relationship and exposing that sometimes there's a complexity to characters that we don't I want people to fall in love with him, as in like
Mm.
he's an amazing character that does so much for the world, but then I want them to also see that he's a piece of shit at home. uh, and how do you solve that? How do you really, plus there's all these court people around him like this, because he blurred the boundaries between work and personal life so much. So he had like ex-patients, like women and men that turn women, women that turn men, or like helpers and his drivers and like people they picked up from the streets, then like doing helping in the house. Like it was almost like a comedic version of a royal court. There was
Yeah.
like half formal, half informal. You not need to be there. You're not paid for it really, but then they would
Mm.
pay him with like objects, with food. So like food was so abundant all the time, and there's this
Mm.
very sort of Caravaggio quality to it. It's a bit like something you find in a Godfather as well. The lighting is very like it's very like not very well lit spaces, really high ceilings and really dark.
Mm. It's interesting the way that you describe that, like this kind of how do you reconcile this? How do you like see these tensions and how do you solve this? How do you understand this? But I also think that that's a fallacy. I think that like we're so good at problem solving in a lot of areas that we see everything as like, oh, this is something that like I need to make sense of, that I need to solve. But I think a lot of the things that we go through, a lot of life, a lot of like these interactions with different characters, or even just like trying to understand your own life, it's never solved. There's like
No.
always these interesting tensions, but they're hard to look at or like hard to sit with without trying to solve them. So often we don't actually give things a lot of time or a lot of attention or
Yeah.
like give it the even time of day to unless it's something that we think we might be able to solve, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that I want people to think whether they would side with him or not.
Mm.
In
Mm.
the end, it's like would you side with them? Would you side with my grandma? I mean, my grandma, she played like a passive role, but also an active role in many ways by just like having him live off her inheritances in all the context that she provided for him. Um,
So there's like the personal, and then I guess there's also the like the human versus the ideological.
yes, super
Like,
ideological. I mean, why
yeah,
would you just do this IVF? Like, why?
yeah,
Just like and like why would you create this like transgender area? It's just it's there's a very strong like social calling, but then there's a very like poor familiar judgment, like judgments of
mm,
what it means to build a relationship
mm.
within the family, and like and yeah. So I'm really
Um,
falling in love with this project, man. So I'm like trying to use whenever I'm not working, that's what I'm doing. So like today I met with a sound designer to talk about like sound and like score. I'm talking to screenwriters to help me with the script. I mean, I wrote a script and I got some versions of it. And I also got like another like a beat sheet and a log line. I can show you like later.
cool. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
What are you missing? What are you like? What are you looking for?
I'm still
Just to
working on the
put it out
story.
into the world.
Yeah, and I'm still working on the story. I'm sharing it with people. I need to find a producer right now.
Need to find a
Um,
producer. Okay.
so I need to find a producer and I need to find like a DOP.
What
What
are
else?
the qualities of your ideal producer?
I just want someone that's collaborative. I also want someone that's able to work between Italy and here, and like
Mm,
just work with talent that's from Italy or talent that's between Italy and here.
yeah,
That's also like fairly green. I can't really spend as much money, so like I think someone that is like to a level, but also someone
yeah.
that can buy into the idea that there are parts that we can compromise on and others that we cannot. I think this film is very visceral. It's very like sound heavy. It's like it's full of close-ups. It's textural. There's not as much dialogue. It's closer to an art film. It's a concept film. So I think it's important for me to build the character and
Mm,
to like show all of the. I'm putting on the cover his wrist with an oxidation stain on it
mm.
that comes from wearing the golden Rolex that's fake. You don't know it's fake at the beginning of the shorts. Then at the end of the short, he removes it and it shows. So,
Cool. Cool.
that's him, really. That's him for real because we received nothing from him. So he definitely was wearing fake Rolexes. I know that.
Oh man. Um Okay, I want to know about the tools as well. Like this uh this idea that like now you can go and you can write a script and you can like potentially produce it. Um like what tools are you using? How are you putting this together? Like
Yeah,
is it
so
pen and paper? Is it like a Google Doc? Like
so there is like specific softwares to write scripts. The one of them is called Writer Duet,
hmm,
and it's a software that essentially has features that are industry standards when it comes to scripts.
cool.
Mostly it means that you can send either you can send a link to that platform and multiple people can collaborate on it.
Mhm.
But also there is shortcuts that make sense within a script context. It's already formatted for script, which is a specific typeface, a specific type of language that you can shortcut in.
Mm,
It just sits within an ecosystem. So I'm doing that there.
cool.
I'm also just I've created a Pinterest board for the mood of the film. I made a keynote with a sort of director's pack, which includes 4 slides where you have key pieces in it. You have like a title and log line. A log line is like a sentence that describes the film, which is
Okay.
something you would find on IMDb when you're like reading that, and it's only that, right?
Yeah.
So, and I have an image that's sort of the image of the film, which is the wrist with the green.
Yeah.
Then I have a page with the beat sheets, so it's like 4 beats, 15, 20 minutes, and it's very visual. I also have a mood board within these slides that it's like essentially like one long set of images, one after the other. It's like a visual storyboard of what's happening.
Cool. How did
Uh,
you put those images together? Do you already have the film? Like, do you already have a lot of recording or no?
no, it's just images that I've pulled from the internet and that I've made in Midjourney, and they're like all combined and just tell the story of what I imagine it to be. So I imagine I've set 4 locations for it, and they're all in and around my house.
Yeah.
So it's easy.
Yeah.
And then I have set, yeah, so there's 4 locations, and then there is specific type of color grading, sound, and scenes that happen within those. So then I can imagine what that looks like and pull those images and pull them together into a section. But it's not describing exactly scene what's happening in the scene, just more in high level versions. For example, the second
Yeah.
beat, like he's walking to the house. He meets his wife that's walking down the alleyway to get to the house, and she's carrying a plastic bag with anchovies in it and lemons. And so what's in there is like a picture of her, a picture of a bag of anchovies, a picture of the house, the actual house, with a crack, and that's just that's really what it is. But doesn't really say much more than this is the. But then and then you go to the next. So I'm doing that, and then I'm doing like the soundscape and the spatial, so like describing those spaces and how they sound and how they look like. And then the cast, the main character, just with ideas around some faces. I pulled some people's faces and what I imagine them to look like, and what's the
Yeah.
street casting gonna look like, and all that.
Cool. That's so fucking interesting. I love this bringing art to life, or like the experience of art in different ways. Like art can be so I used to think that art was so narrow, but actually I realize, and also through being friends with you, realizing that it's um, all of these different modalities that bring out certain feelings, that create moods, that like bring you into the space of this thing. Like I imagine the lemons and the anchovies in the house with the crack as like really painting a specific feeling. Uh,
Yeah,
that otherwise you wouldn't
yeah,
access.
man. Trying to be very specific about what my experience within that too, and I'm only fictionalizing like 10-20% of it. Like most of it is actually real. I mean, some of the people are not exactly those people, but um yeah, man, I'm really excited. This is
Cool.
really what's driving me right now. That's like the life force that's driving me at the moment is this film, honestly. I don't care about work very much at the moment. I'm
Yeah.
just doing it to do it, and I'm just like coasting with it. Like at the moment, it's like in fact, I don't know, like design in general, like the type of part of design I've been working on the past 10 years. It's been different ways of applying design, but like at the
Mm,
moment, I was talking to Rich and he said like there is an opening for a position as a brand designer, which I wouldn't want to be a brand designer. I would still want to be like a head of brand so I can work with brand designers. But he said the position is flexible in a company he's working at. And I was thinking about it. He sent me the application. I'm just like, he said I can put a word for you. It's flexible. You can become that you could become from when you were doing it per Lego before. And
yeah.
I'm just thinking like I really want to do that.
Yeah.
But I want to also move away from the UAE a little bit so I can be more in Europe. And this is between like London and Stockholm, so it's a little bit closer to this world here.
Mm, mm. So maybe
Um,
it's a
but
stepping
I'm
stone.
not excited about it, mate, at all. Like zero. Like
What's your ideal role? Do you know? Or is it just like,
I don't know,
because,
man. Right now, I just want to make a film.
yeah, yeah.
I
So
think
follow
what I'm
that.
doing in the UAE, it's fine, and like I think it's helpful because I I can make more money, so I can buy more time.
Mm, mm,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I was listening to a podcast yesterday where they were talking about working on your passions versus working on things that maybe you can provide value in, like things that you're good at, but might not be your passions. And it's exactly that. It's like if you have the luxury of working on your passions, fucking work on your passions. If you don't yet have that luxury, work on something, do things, take action, make things. Like, and through doing that, you'll get clarity on what you like and what you don't like. And you'll also be able to create the space of making opportunities to work on what you're passionate about.
yeah.
Um,
I
yeah,
think that every like this project sits very sort of like quite close to my current realm. In fact, I think that what I
yeah,
do in Abu Dhabi kind of works with this too because it drove me to this in many ways. You know, I got exposed to qualities that I couldn't get exposed here. Started to design more luxury experiences, which took me into like back into the material space, into the physical experiences, into the design of physical experiences, which took me back into wanting to work with makers and like create sets and create physical moments for people to walk into, which is what I studied originally, but I didn't get to do a lot of it later.
mm,
And then the distance from home further got me to want to be closer to my family and so wanted to write about it and like just come back to being reminiscent about it, which is not something that I would be doing if I was in London the same way. um yeah, so I think that helped me to be there.
mm, mm,
um and I also kind of coasting a bit, I'm not really challenged too much, so I mean, I'm challenged by the fact that the hours can be long and there's very particular way of going and looking at things. But at the same time, it's just like I'm not very challenged by design at this stage of my career, and
yeah,
so unless I go deeper into other types of design, but I really am a bit obsessive over filmmaking. But I've been obsessing over acting as well for a while, and so like understanding that there's something to say about acting, which is you are dependent on other people's visions and projects to work really and to do something with that.
yeah.
What I'm trying to do
So,
here is to create the conditions for myself to direct and work with others to bring a project to life, which is essentially what I've been doing in design for a long time, collaborating to bring something together. Except the result here is different. It's not like a stakeholder meeting, it's like a film.
yeah, exactly. But you're still creating a vision, you're working together towards something. And I guess the judge of it is a different um person or entity here, right? The like in design, if you're working towards a stakeholder meeting, for example, the judge of that is your client, is the stakeholders, whoever it is. The judge of the film is, well,
The
it depends
audience.
what you want from it, right? The
Yeah.
audience. Yeah. Maybe it's just you. Like a lot of the
Yeah.
like incredible artists and filmmakers, they make it for themselves. They're
Yes.
like, is this interesting?
It's art for sure. With the
Yeah.
qualities of design and collaboration. Like in theater you have the audience there responding. In film, you as a director are the audience of the actors
Mm,
because you're the first one that like sees it, watch it, ask for another cut. You know, it's
mm.
a very interesting. Plus, it's very collaborative and it's in person. And I really, just that's all I want, mate. Honestly, all I want is being with other people, doing things with other people in
Hell
a real
yes.
life setting. You know, not like
Collaborating.
this.
No. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is nice to be able to catch up, but
Yeah,
it's
it's nice, but
definitely
like not like as being like the day to day. I want to do more of like real life moments. So
yeah.
you mentioned that before for yourself too. I remember that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm slowly working towards having like days just not on my phone. There are certain things that I need to be able to be online and have tools like computers and phones and like I'm really enjoying the like capturing of small day-to-day moments to be able to share with my people, with my friends, with my
It
family.
feels very like you feel very close because of that.
Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah.
helps. But the difference I think is in the personal feeling. It's like we go to Waking Life together, for example, and there's no cell phone service and you are very just present. You're there. It's a playground to swim and hang out and dance and do these things that otherwise even I find the day-to-day experience of like interacting partly in the physical world and partly with people who are in different time zones tricky. It's tricky to like be partially here and partially there. um yeah, and I
We are at different time zones. We're at different energy levels in the day too. So like we there's a level of alignment. But you lived like that for a long time because of your family in New Zealand, no? So like you must
yeah
have found techniques. What are your tools to get to deal with that?
um good question. The Honestly, I could be much better at it,
Mm.
I will say. The techniques that I have is that I try to interact with people asynchronously and I try to just put energy into like communicating with people when I feel energetic, when I feel social. So, like, I notice between probably 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. is when I feel like most outgoing. I know that if someone is
Now.
like wanting to have a now, this is perfect. I notice if someone wants to have a meeting with me at like 3 p.m., 4 p.m., I'm just gonna be like a shit version of myself, or like
Mm.
I'll turn up to the meeting and I'll communicate, but I won't necessarily be outgoing. I'll feel quite introverted, and I think this is also hormonal, just like on a day-to-day basis. Understanding how your hormones fluctuate as a man is really interesting, and then for women, understanding like what your cycle is and how your hormones fluctuate over a
Ah, yeah,
month,
like
like
because
is
we have a
really
daily
interesting.
cycle, no? What's our daily cycle?
We have a daily cycle usually, and I'm definitely not an expert here, but usually it's that for men, testosterone peaks like an hour and a half after you wake up, as well as cortisol. Cortisol kind of like spikes and makes you alert and makes you want to do things. So usually for men, it's that you're more productive in the morning, and then you kind of hit a slump around 3 or 4 o'clock and your energy levels, and that's when testosterone is lowest. My understanding is that testosterone is the hormone that like regulates most or has the biggest impact on our energy levels. Um, and obviously, like we mess with this artificially, we mess with it with screens, we mess with it with different substances like caffeine, um, nicotine, like all of these things kind of play a role. Sugar plays a big role. But I'm just trying to start to work with my own energy and go, all right, like what are the pillars of my life? Okay, I need my body to be healthy. I need my energy levels to be good, and I need like mental clarity. And all right, what goes into that? I can feed myself well. I can not put things into my body that are making me feel bad, like caffeine past a certain time so that I sleep better. Like it's pretty basic stuff, but I am finding like building these habits is making me feel more capable of doing what I want to do. Just because then like I have the fuel, the inputs. It's like if you expect a car to drive somewhere, you're not gonna not put any petrol in it or put the wrong type of gas in it and
Yeah,
expect it to go and do the same stuff, right?
yeah, for sure.
Um,
Yeah, for sure. Like it's are you doing any keto or like any specific diet right now?
Not really. I've changed my diet to eat more in the morning. I used to
Okay,
fast until like 1 or 2 o'clock, and I noticed that if I only have caffeine, that I get kind of jittery by about lunchtime. So instead, I've been eating a lot of eggs in the morning. Um,
that's good.
yeah, it helps.
I'm
Um,
still not having breakfast.
enough
No,
works for you.
I'm just not hungry really. I
Yeah.
don't know what that is. In the end, I just like eat a lot in the middle of the day, and I just like after 7, I don't want to eat anymore, and I don't want to eat before
Mm.
11, 12.
You're listening to your body, right?
That's just what it is right now.
Um, Back to time zones for a second. Um I make a real effort to remember specific things like birthdays for people that I like really want to stay in touch with. And I also do a thing where in my contacts I put little emojis from like different areas of my life. And I
Ooh.
try to make sure that those emojis are continually popping up um in my inbox so that I go like, yes, I have these people in my life that
No
I
way,
like
that's so cool.
choose to, yeah, yeah.
Like
So
how? They're like
just in the contact
reminders.
name. Yeah. Um, oh, the other thing that I've done recently, which I was like, all right, I want a coach. I want someone to help me. Um, so I started using this thing called OpenClaw, which is essentially an open source AI uh, framework, I guess, or
Mm,
I don't know how to describe it, but you can use any model with it and then you host it either on your computer and it has access to like all of your files and all
yeah,
of
it's
your
an
accounts and
agent.
all of that stuff. It's an
Mm.
agent. Or I didn't want to give it access to my local computer, so I set up an AWS server and put it running Ubuntu, just like a Linux version, and then installed it on that. And then I text with it so it like has all of these things. Like, for example, recording this podcast, I was like, all right, I'll text it, hey, I'm going to meet with Luca at this time on this date. Can you log that? And then can you remind me a day before? And then every time I like want something, so I have it check in with me in the morning and it goes, all right, these are the habits that we're trying to build. Um, have you done this, this, and this? Like right now, my morning routine is go for a walk, like get sunlight in my eyes. And I used to think this stuff was all kind of lame until I started doing it. Um, get
Yeah, it's the
sunlight in my eyes,
Uberman
do some
approach.
exercise,
Yeah,
journal. I just think that
yeah.
like being able to write and having a back and forth dialogue with yourself is an interesting
Morning
exercise.
pages, no?
Exactly. Um, and
I
breath
haven't been
work.
journaling at all, man. It's crazy. I have to start doing more of that. I think it's really helpful. I'm trying to meditate more in the morning as well.
Yeah.
You write just a page, or you just change it all the time?
I'm just building the habit. So now it's a page and it's a page in a small book. I've been doing it for like 5 or 6 days now. And it's like, all right, did I write a page? And I go back and read them sometimes and it's funny. It's just like, I walked down the beach and later on I'm going to talk to Luca and
I love this. Like I've read old notes of mine from years ago. It's so tender to watch to read that. Like you'd be like, oh my god, you're going through this right now. You have no idea how that's gonna change.
yeah, yeah, um, yeah. They're lovely
It's
little
cool. I like
practices.
that we went through all of this.
We did, eh? We got the sadness one.
Yes,
I,
man. I think it's like I'm just really sad that you're not so close anymore. You're
Yeah,
like so far away, and like I and then you come to Portugal, and it's not even the same country. Like I just have to have in the same time zone.
I know. Let's change that.
We'll change
Um,
that. I think I wanna give Portugal a go, by the way. Like I always wanted to do that. I just have to understand how long this thing is gonna go for with me, with just the UAE versus something else.
hmm.
Um,
I need to figure out my home base as well. Like I have it intellectually, and I want to be in Portugal, and it's some of the bureaucracy and the visas and stuff. I'm just like moving through that, so it'll happen. But yeah, it'll happen in time. We've also got so much time.
yeah, we got so much time. I just okay. So then the next thing to the last thing to talk about is festivals and which festival we're gonna go to together. So there's medicine is on the picture. I sent you the link. Garbage would be one that some people want to go to.
Mm,
So
okay,
put it
I've
on your
heard
radar.
nice things
Yeah,
about cabbage.
yeah.
Okay,
And then maybe um what's the one that Neve went last year with Emma? Small one that's after Waking Life.
maybe goat.
Yeah, did you go to that?
No, but it
Okay.
looks really nice.
Yeah, it
It
looks really
looks
nice.
really
Maybe we
wholesome.
can do that. It's the week
Yeah.
after your sister's wedding.
Oh, I don't. Uh, my year is looking pretty. Um.
What?
Oh, it's just busy. It's busier than I want it to be.
Oh,
I'm like,
what are you
okay,
doing?
I want to be settled. I want to not do things, and then I'm like, oh, I want to go to Mexico and Brazil and Portugal and.
Yeah.
Um,
But so your
um,
family's gonna come and you'll spend time with them for a few weeks?
my family's gonna come. We're doing oh, I haven't told you about this. So we're having my sister's wedding, and then I'm going with my grandmother, who's now like 82, and runs 5Ks every day. She's a badass.
Oh
She
my
can do a
god,
2 minute
she's so
plank.
good. Wow.
My grandmother, my mum, and my little sister Poppy, we're all going to the Dolomites after the wedding, and
Oh,
we're going to spend,
sick.
yeah, until the end of June. We're just going to be hiking. Um, you're
Okay,
going to do
cool.
like a
I
hut
should
to
send you
hut.
some hikes. I was going there as a kid.
Yeah, okay, that'd
It's
be
cool.
awesome. Um, and then I don't know 100% if I'll make it happen, but I have the desire to go to a thing in the US, in July, like start of July.
What is it?
It's like a little festival, a friends festival. A
Oh,
bunch of people
cool.
come together, and
What
yeah,
kind?
actually, so if that's something you're interested in, um,
Yeah, I mean, it sounds really cool. No, it's okay. I'll be here.
hi Ida.
We're just gonna wrap it up.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll send you the
What's
information
the
about
name
it.
of the festival?
They try to keep it a little bit under wraps, so I'll tell you after.
Okay,
Um,
okay, yeah.
but I
It's
mean, not
it's on
really.
camera. It's on camera. No,
But
it's good.
it's a
Also
bunch
we
of like artists and performers and event
okay,
organizers go and put together a festival
okay,
together.
that's sick. I love that. I mean, Quintas do Amor, that like that guy Tommy did. I think that's super cool as well. Like whatever is connecting me to that land and to that notion of having a land and everything else. Like, the more of
Yeah,
that, the better. Honestly, for me, mate. Like I want waking life for like kind of environments more.
yeah.
Um, I'm sure you
Um,
feel the same.
they did. Tommy put on what's it called? Equilibrio.
Yeah,
And I think I'll do that again this year. It's in September. I could be up for
yeah,
that.
that sounds good. Do you remember Elle? Curly
Uh,
hair,
from where?
German. She has a
Where did
design studio in Portugal. We met her way he live.
we met her at Waking Life?
She's a bit older
Yeah,
than us.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw her here with her partner. Yeah, with Ida,
Um,
which is like chilling together. And yeah, it was fun. She was going on an ayahuasca thing. Some people do ayahuasca like so whatever. Like
it's their medicine. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I still haven't. I think
me
it'll
neither.
call sometime.
We'll do it. We'll do it at some point.
The other one to put on your radar is the Swedish regional burn borderland.
Oh yeah, in that
which is
cave thing, no?
which is in July. It's in a cave? Oh man, I know
So is it?
nothing about this.
I think there's a cave festival in there, which is like, yeah, it's a cave, but I don't know if it's that one.
Okay. But yeah, that's on my radar this year.
Oh man, the year
It'll
feels
be a lot
very
of effort.
chunked up.
I
Okay,
know.
so then I think it's best that I see you when you come to Portugal and you come to London in May, and hopefully I'm around and hopefully I'm like standing up this film that I wanna shoot. That'll be so much fun. Huh.
I can't wait.
I'll keep you posted. I'm
All right.
gonna send you some stuff. I love to. Once the script is ready, I'd love for you to read it and tell me what you
Okay.
think.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. All
Oh,
right, brother.
Straighten your hair.
my hair.
Yes.
No, I don't want
No,
that.
please. Just one. Please.
No,
All right.
One.
why? Okay.
I love you.
Love you, bro.
Ciao, ciao.
I'll see you soon.
One.